Yeah, that was an awesome experience. Met Macaulay Culkin, Daniel Stern, Joe Pesci. It was really, really cool. And again, my gosh, such a long time ago. That was like 1992. I was 21 at the time because I turned 22 that summer. I remember taking my parents, even my grandparents, when they were all alive, to the theater to see the movie. So we all went to the movies and got popcorn and stuff. And then, of course, the 20th Century Fox, you know, that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think I started to tear up. So there you go. So that's a little bit of Home Alone 2. There's some other opportunities there as well. But anyway, that's my Home Alone 2 story.
You're listening to Old Guy Tech.
Welcome to Old Guy Tech. I'm Michael Samstag, and our guest today is Joe Piscitelli, SOC, a true industry veteran who's been behind the viewfinder for 40 years. Joe's a seasoned director of photography and the go-to guy in Chicago for everything from high-end corporate work to broadcast and documentaries. We're going to dive deep into his networking secrets, his desert island gear, and why he thinks the human element of storytelling is the only thing that will keep us safe from the rise of the AI avatars. But first, I'm joined by my co-host, Dave McCauley. Dave's actually on location today in Florida, so he's joining us on his phone. And we're going to discuss a different kind of old guy tech, the engineering feat of the Artemis II spaceship. It turns out that when NASA needs imagery from deep space, they don't always grab the newest thing off the shelf. They grab the gear that is battle tested. Dave, how are you, and what are you working on?
Hey, Michael, I'm good. I'm working on a development project, actually. It's a kind of a missing persons case that has been somewhat resolved, but not completely. And it's very fascinating. I have to say, I do a lot of true crime work, and this is, it's nice because there, at least to a degree, is a happier ending. So that this person has been found after 40 plus years.
So you're working on stuff that is ripped from the headlines. And speaking of the headlines, what a 9-10 days it has been. I mean, it was last Monday, Artemis launched to the moon, and the second day is the first time, you think about it. Of course, I don't remember any of this, even though I was alive, but the images that came back from the Apollo project, we didn't see till weeks after they landed.
Oh, right.
So to see these beautiful, stunning images while they're still in space was kind of fantastic. That second day, the Earth shot, it was a slightly eclipsed Earth shot, was absolutely stunning. And now it turns out we're finding out that the gear they're using is just plain kind of old, right? So their go-to in-cabin, if you will, camera, Nikon 5DS, which is 10 years old, and then the GoPro 4, which I don't even know what version of the GoPro are we on now. It's got to be like 10.
No, it's on it's either 13 or 14. But yeah, the Nikon D5, 10-year-old DSLR that's apparently very well known for its high ISO capabilities, and that's the primary reason why they decided
3.2 million.
Right, like you would ever really use that, but I think some of the shots that they've taken have been
total garbage, yeah.
Right, but I think they've been using like 50,000 ISO and maybe even slightly higher than that on some of these shots, and they look great.
The dark side of the moon, so that is, I think, why they chose that particular camera, is because they would need such a high ISO to pull that off. But then also, when you see the combo images of, both one of my other favorite images was the Earth set with the moon in the foreground, high contrast image for sure. And it really pulled it out. So it just goes to verify kind of the best camera is not always the newest one. Although I do think that they did have a newer Nikon with them.
Yes, the Nikon Z9 is the one that they got on at the last minute. I mean, I don't know what the last minute means, but I guess apparently they lobbied for it to bring that as well. The crew did. And so that's interesting that they are really into it that much that they would be like, okay, we need to bring this one and we need to bring the newer version and do some comparisons and see how it works out.
I think the Nikon, there's a few things that we know why Nikon makes a good choice. First, of course, being with their now ties to red, as in they own Red and have merged. And then also I do understand, so these guys are not just hobbyists by any stretch, because they are actually shooting their own footage for a Nat Geo special about returning to the moon. So I'm sure they had some really good advice in making that decision and choosing that gear. Yeah, I can't imagine what you do to a GoPro to make it survive in a vacuum of space with going 25,000 miles an hour. It clearly must have taken quite a bit of tech to make that housing survive that trip. These GoPro, I mean, the GoPros that I don't know if they had some in the cabin, but I think the reason why they were done such a long time ago is because they're actually outside of the spaceship on the solar array, taking the shots of the capsule and the capsule with the moon in sight and the Earth in sight. It just goes to show you that it's not the tool, it's the operator and the way it's used. And those were really, really great uses of technology. And it was so cool to see those images coming from space as they were still out there. And of course, tonight, so it's, as we shoot this episode, it's the April 10th at about 10 in the morning, and they are due to splash down in California at 8 o'clock this evening, Eastern time. So we wish all the luck, and we'll be watching that closely and looking forward to hearing more about these adventures. And then, of course, I guess in a couple of years, landing on the moon. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dave, thank you for taking some time out from your busy shoot schedule and hanging with us.
Happy to be here.
And with that, we take it to our interview with Joe Piscitelli.
Old Guy Tech.
Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Pleasure to be here.
So I want to start with something that I haven't heard you talk about before. On your IMDb page, your first credit is Home Alone 2.
Okay, that's true.
So tell us about Home Alone 2.
But so throughout high school and even my first couple years at Columbia, I really, really noticed that, why going to movies, just they always looked better. How come the equipment I worked on, even when I had a chance to work on some quote professional or broadcast gear, it just couldn't touch when I would go to a movie or even watch a movie on TV. What's going on? I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking I need cinematography, I need film, I need Panavision. We could talk about that. I need Hollywood. So that was my thing. I wanted to go finish school, graduate, go out west, and I think I wanted to be like a union operator on feature films. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So going to Columbia in Chicago, I actually did. I didn't go. They offered two different routes you could go. You could go television, video television, or you could go film. So I went film, obviously concentrating in cinematography and lighting. That's what I really, really love to do. During that time, I was given the opportunity to do a couple internships. And that's one thing I think you might be asking me later on, some advice to some of the young folks. I'm not sure what's out there right now because I've kind of been out of that loop as far as internships. But I think with any career, but especially film and television, any type of internship, paid, not paid. And most of mine, I think almost all of my internships were not paid, even Home Alone 2. I worked on that feature for free. And other things too, but that's how you get in. You got to get your feet in the door. You get noticed, things like that. So, going to Columbia, internships, yes. So my advisor said, hey, blah, blah, blah. There's this thing, Home Alone 2, blah, blah, blah. So I applied, I got it. And the really, really cool thing is this, and then I'll wrap up the Home Alone 2 story. So I was hired as an office production intern. And we were super, super lucky. I remember when we all wrapped, the office manager was so excited to tell me and some of the other interns that were in the office. She came and presented us, and I have it. It's a really cool bag that says like Home Alone 2 and this and this and that. And some of the official advertising things that haven't even been put out yet. But she's like, I wanted to let you guys know that, and this is kind of rare, but we are giving you an actual credit in the movie. Your name will be in the credits. So that's kind of cool. So that's where my official credit is in the movie. However, because every day I showed up to the office and I had my Panavision t-shirts on or hat on, or they knew I was like the film geek, the camera geek. Eventually, like you said, with Chris Columbus and those folks, they noticed me and then said, "Hey, would you want to come out to the set one day and hang out?" So that all worked out. So after a while, then I got to intern with the camera department. So really, really cool. And there's a lot of stories. I got some cool behind the scene pictures way before the days of iPhones. I wish I had an iPhone back then, but yeah, that was an awesome experience. Met Macaulay Culkin, Daniel Stern, Joe Pesci. It was really, really cool. And again, my gosh, such a long time ago. That was like 1992. I was 21 at the time because I turned 22 that summer. I remember taking my parents, even my grandparents, when they were all alive, to the theater to see the movie. So we all went to the movies and got popcorn and stuff. And then, of course, the 20th Century Fox, dun, 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 you know, that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think I started to tear up.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's a little bit of Home Alone 2. There's some other opportunities there as well. But anyway, that's my Home Alone 2 story.
Yeah, what a great experience. What an incredible experience. That's amazing.
You're making me think. You're making me go back and think of memories.
And that was the burbs of Chicago that it was based in, right? So they were actually using some locations.
So yeah. So what's
right? That house is still it's kind of famous. So
in Home Alone 2, they used the house that is still there, actually, and it seems like every handful of years it goes up for sale. And there's even a plaque out there if you want, because people take pictures. So
right.
So for Home Alone 2, the exteriors of the home were shot at the home, but all the interiors that you see on Home Alone 2 are all soundstage over here and the burbs of Chicago, not northwest suburbs. It was all soundstage. I have pictures to prove it. I have a tub of old photos from when the rare opportunity someone might have had a camera or even a little throwaway or a disc camera or what have you. Oh my gosh. I just wish there's so many memories now that are only up here that we don't have evidence of. We don't have those tangible, those photos, those memories to look back on. So anyway.
That's part of what this show is about, is getting these all on the air and captured and remembered, because it's awesome. And if you can dig up some of those photos and we'll pop them in here. So I want to segue a little bit because you, and first of all, I want to say you are taking care of yourself, because I'm a little bit older than you, and I would have guessed you are solidly a decade younger than I was. So you are taking care of yourself, and this business eats people alive. It is tough physically, and so is there something that you do to stay in shape for? Because you know me, I'm on location for a day and then I'm in post for a week or two. So I rarely have to do as much physical work as you guys do.
No, thank you. I'll be 56 this August. So I was born in 1970. No, but thank you. I go to the gym. I love the gym. I go to the gym a lot. But I'll tell you this too, even years and years ago, before I was really like a gym guy, because I do consider myself right now, I'm a gym guy. And anytime I can, I will go to the gym. And that's the one, if you want to call it the pro, the con of being, a small business owner, independent contractor, that I call myself, where like this morning. So, if I'm off, those are the gym days. Or if I have a job maybe in the morning and I can get to the gym that afternoon, or if I have an evening job, I'll go to the gym in the morning. You try to find that time. But I remember years ago talking to some other folks on sets, like, again, when I was on some of the bigger jobs as like, an intern or a PA, you would talk to like the grips or the camera department. And, some of these guys were like, yeah, you got to stay in shape, have strong shoulders, strong legs, whatnot, because if you're going to be schlepping around, and of course, too, back in the day, we were holding, big 30, 40 pound,
Ikegami HL 55.
Big Anton Bauer bricks on the back and a couple Electrosonics receivers
30 pounds.
All my reality days and stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it's hard on you. So I can only imagine what it's like for folks that don't have the stamina. Staying healthy is key. I've seen some guys now like us that are getting older and, fortunately, like you said, thank you. I don't look my age, luckily. I mean, I do feel like that the years have kind of hung on my face a little bit, but I know guys that they do look older. They have more, they're fully grayed out. They just have that look to them. They're maybe less in shape. Or we were just talking before recording that I have a buddy right now getting a hip replaced, or I know guys over the years getting these things, and they start going back on jobs. And then I've noticed that they're kind of aging out. These guys, these guys could be production veterans. I mean, veterans, skilled, fantastic resumes, 20, 30, 40 years. But all of a sudden, especially if you get some of these newer, younger producers that if you're just moving a little too slow for them, I have seen these guys get slowly pushed out the door, and they're bringing in the younger ones that may not be as good.
And it's the thing that people don't realize when they look at day rates is, how do you calculate your day rate when you look at what a hip replacement might cost or a knee replacement? We might not be professional athletes, but we have a period of time where we can do the job. And so, yeah, our rate might be a little higher than other industries sometimes, although certainly that rate can vary. But it's sure, like, as you're, having no terrible eyesight or having to have some sort of procedure done, man, that's why we make the money. I have a friend on Full Swing, the Netflix show, and people like, oh, that must be great. You got a front seat, front row seat to the Masters. And he's like, yeah, it's an 18-hour day. I do 40,000 steps, and he's a lot younger than me, but it's just killing him. That is brutally hard work.
Yeah. Golf. I actually, in the summers, shoot quite a bit of golf. I've been very blessed. Actually, if you look back on one of my Facebook posts several years ago, we do a lot of stuff for the PGA Tour Network, and we had Jonathan, who one of my guys, all week, where all we did was follow Tiger Woods around.
Man.
And yeah, it was fantastic. We did a lot. It was a great week. But like you said, regardless, that was one of those like ultimate, just awesome. But
that's killer. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Golf courses. Oh my gosh. Well, pretty much around here. And I've traveled a little bit for golf, but pretty much I stay in the Midwest, kind of Chicago, maybe Wisconsin, Indiana. Golf here is in the summertime. Guess what? It's
hot.
It's humid on a golf course, or it could be raining or crazy thunderstorms, humid. Like you said, yeah, maybe you get golf carts too, but you're putting in lots of steps, but it's a lot of humping, jumping off the golf cart, going again, depending on what you're doing too. I love doing like what they call vignettes and stuff, or we're on the driving range all day when you have a nice setup and doing interviews. I love that stuff.
Signature interviews.
It's hard.
That's great.
The stuff that's hard is like on a Sunday afternoon where there's God knows how many 20, 30,000 people. You're trying to get ahead and trying to follow, and the production, they're contacting you like, hey, jump over here, jump over to 9 or whatever it is, because so and so's teeing off, whatever, and you're just trying to get through and navigate. It's chaos. And like you said, at the end of the day, it's really, really cool. Or you hear people like, wow, man, these guys, oh my God, I'd give my left leg, to have the access you have. And we're inside the ropes. It's amazing. But
sounds great, right?
It's a hard day.
Yeah.
It's a hard day for sure.
What are the kinds of jobs that you like you see the phone ring and you're like, oh yes, no, I love this. And then conversely, what are the ones where you're kind of like, oh man, I wish, it's slow. Do I really take this one? Or, what's your least favorite and favorite kind of jobs?
Sure. It's changed over time. But one thing I've always loved to do, and I still love to do, is I do love sit down interviews, especially now with the equipment we have versus the old days.
What are you shooting on these days? I can't remember.
So lately, FX9, FX6, FX3.
Man, yeah, of course.
I do like Canon. I have a couple of C300 Mark 1s, but they're Mark 1s. So now they're
HD.
not going out as much.
No.
But I think we were talking about this too, or in our previous communications, as far as like, if you want to talk legacy gear, oh my gosh. In my years, I have bought and sold off many camera bodies over the years, but still in my office, I still have one Betacam SP.
Nice.
I still have one full size like Sony DV cam that's like a dockable, I think it's like a D50 with the DSR1 back on a DV cam. That was fun. I loved
DV cam. DV cam was a great format.
Fantastic.
Yep. We're going to get back to Joe Piscitelli and the mummy cameras of Chicago in just a second. But real quick, I want to make sure you know that you can take Old Guy Tech with you wherever you go. Whether you're on a long drive to a location, prepping gear in the shop, or if you're like Joe, hitting the gym to keep those knees working, we are available on all major streaming platforms. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and of course, right here on YouTube. If you're enjoying these deep dives into the analog soul of the industry, do us a huge favor. Leave us a review or a rating on your platform of choice. It's the best way to help other owner-operators and film vets find the show. All right, let's head back to the studio and pick up the conversation with Joe. But I'm not gonna let you off the hook here, though.
Yeah.
Least favorite call. Most favorite call.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
So I love talking heads. There are certain clients too. Like I said, maybe PGA or who else? Like working for you guys. A lot of good corporate jobs.
Our jobs are so every once in a while, some of our corporate work can be the absolute easiest day you could ever have.
For sure.
And those are nice when you maybe do one sit-down interview and you have 4 hours to set it up. So let's keep on the subject of the best day ever, or the calls that you really like. What are some of your favorite shoots that you've done specifically?
I will. So these are a few when people ask, and I know we were going to talk about this, and I think I told you in the pre-interview, I cannot pick just one. Same thing when you're going to ask me.
Top three.
Yeah. I don't even know if I have a top three, but I'll rattle some off. So again, not in any order, but so I've gotten to shoot in Hawaii, which is very, very cool. On the beach, this and that, beautiful stuff. Like again, dream for me. I've shot on cruise ships. Shot in Mexico, the Caribbean. I'm a Caribbean guy. I love, that's our vacation stuff. So it gets really, really cool to shoot that stuff. I actually got to shoot out of helicopters, like 50 feet above the turquoise water.
Beautiful.
Love that stuff. I was in the middle of the Costa Rican jungles shooting bananas, for Chiquita Banana. I just recently posted that in one of my things.
Awesome.
What else? I got to go to Paris for Pepsi, like Pepsi Cola.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what else? And some other just kind of weird stuff. So we have a place here just outside the O'Hare Airport. There's just a nondescript building there, and a lot of they I won't name it, but they bring in surgeons from around the country. It's a big medical theater. Cool. So we shoot a lot of cadavers in there. So I'm very experienced and comfortable doing that. It's very strange. And again, I won't say any more than that. And I've seen, let's just say this, each cadaver is not always a full cadaver.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I will say I've done one of the coolest things I've done is it was a medical video, and it was a spinal vertebrae replacement.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I was worried about it going in. It's like, wow, that's going to be really brutal. But it's one of those things when you've got a job to do.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're just like, I was totally into it. By the end, I told the surgeon, I was like, hey man, I think I've got this. You go see if you can get 9 in before the end of the day, and I'll close up for you.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you the story, and I could back this up. So they're cadavers. So, and this is training. This is training for these surgeons that come in, and usually it's some of the companies that manufacture equipment for these surgeons.
Sure.
Whatever it is, from gigantic X-ray type machines to little tools that they have to use. But they bring in these surgeons for a specific procedure, and these are like the top people in their field from around the world. And they say, here, you're going to come in for a day or two. We're going to go into the lab, and I want you to use this piece doing this procedure. Tell me the good, tell me the bad. How can we make it better? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Well, there's been more than one time where the surgeons have let us take like these big tools and go, and drive into the cadaver. And it's like, okay, that's kind of crazy. You'll never get to do that again. So, crazy stuff. I told you that Tiger Woods story.
That's incredible. Yeah.
That was a pretty awesome week. Because again, we've seen, like you, I think you probably seen more celebrities than I have. Because being in Chicago, We're not LA, we're not New York, we're not Miami. I've done a few red carpet things here in Chicago. Those were pretty cool. But some of those press junket types, those are really, really cool too.
Yeah.
Done some really cool press junkets. But I have friends that are more like West Coast, and they're always always blah blah blah. Just they just rattle off.
Yeah.
Movie stars every single day. I don't get that much here in Chicago, or at least as far as the type of clients that call me.
You've had some cool shoots though. That is for sure. So that's the best thing about what we do is it's access. You get to have days that you get to experience things that nobody else gets to do. I call it cinematic immunity.
You said that perfectly, and that's exactly what I tell people. I said it's the access. We get access to things that, again, without being in that industry, we never would have that access. Again, it's amazing, the stuff. Like you said, if I sat here and thought about it for a few minutes, I could just come up with a list of all these, like, oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, I did this, I did that, I did this. It's amazing. And you're right. It is really, really cool. And then of course, there are those other opportunities where I'm like, oh my gosh, it'd be really cool to go do that. Or I hear from guys like you or other friends that, I'm connected with on social media that are other shooters in other parts of the country. And, guy down in Florida was just out there, when they launched, they launched Artemis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's out there. I mean, he rented like some,
that's a bucket list for me. Yeah.
Exactly. But to be out there, to be hired to be out there to do live shots and then catch that.
Killer.
Awesome. I would have loved to. I mean, I probably will never have that opportunity. I mean, never say never, but a lot of it is geographically where you are.
Yeah. There's a lot of what I call the big miss, right? Like the jobs that never happened that you were excited about. And that for me has been on my bucket list for a long time, even just to go catch a SpaceX launch or, but a manned launch, that would be incredible. Okay. So I'm definitely a big NASA fan. So I want to transition for a second because in our producing of this show, it's actually funny. Dave, my co-host, and I were talking and a piece of work came up. And so, the bidding process, and he was just kind of lamenting about how it's always tough onboarding a new client. And, so how, and it's the same for me. Like, I don't have a current reel. I barely keep a website up. You are fantastic about follow up, asking for feedback. You stay active on Facebook, you post everything, Instagram. I feel like nobody has to tell you to go out there and hustle. Like, you've been doing this a long time. What are some of your secrets to keeping that phone ringing and making sure you're not, I think the worst thing is hustling for business when it's slow. Like, you always got to be hustling when you're busy. But what do you do? How do you make it so it doesn't feel like you're in a salesy mode?
Well, one thing, and you brought up a moment ago, that my website does need work. It was almost just created out of necessity. I'm not that type of a kind of IT tech guy, but at least I was able to put together what I have. Also, I am truly, I'm a DP, I'm a shooter, I'm a cameraman. I'll put this out there for the world. I don't edit. I do not edit. My 19-year-old son probably knows how to edit more than I do. Now, of course, back in the day, when you're going to school, or I did a summer one time, 20 years ago, for one of the local news networks, and I kind of filled in vacation relief for one of the news networks here in town. This is over 20 years ago. So that was a really cool experience too. So of course I had to cut, VOSATs and stuff like that real fast. But again, it's all cuts only, things like that. So I wish I had a better representation of work where you could see it. It's hard. I think it's easier now than maybe, and that now it's just an excuse. I think it's easier now to get clips that I could put up there versus back in the day when everything was videotaped. So to try to get, a copy. You remember back in the day, like, hey, can I get a copy of that?
Absolutely. But I gotta say, like,
teeth.
For me, like, at a certain point when we're hiring crews, right? Like, if you're represented by cruise control or an agency, the level of work is never like, I don't have to see your demo reel, but I can say, like, I think what people come back to you for is, of course, the quality is there. It has to be. There's no, that's a given. Well, but they like working with you. And I
Thank you.
think you're personable and you keep the relationships. All that seems to me like,
yes,
I think
yes.
you're really, really, really good at that. And
Thank
I
you.
don't think you can underestimate, like, I'll take someone who's not as good, but is better to work with any day, you know, because,
Yes.
you know, I can always get the level of production where I need it.
Hey, you know, there, hands down, I mean, there's always somebody better than you. And I'll look right in the camera and tell you, I mean, there's probably God knows how many dozens and dozens of cameraman DPs that will probably blow me away. But like you said, and that's something that I also am teaching, or I like to preach and teach to the you know the younglings out there. It's like, and if you heard this, it's not just about what you know, it's who you know. It's about relationships. Build the relationships, and the work will come. You could be, great behind the lens, or whatever you do is your skill, for your craft. You could be hopefully wealthy and have all the best gear in the world and all these types of things. But if people don't like working with you, you're not going to be that busy.
Yeah.
That's
I
truly
don't
what it's
think a
about.
great reel ever won anybody a piece of work.
I don't think so.
But it's easier to sit back and go, I'm going to work on this reel versus, I'm going to go join, an advertising local group or something,
So I'm going to be careful with my words here, but yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in reels.
Yeah,
because
no, I don't either.
Because
I don't have one.
I think a lot of that stuff can be, especially back in the day, a lot of that stuff was obviously BS. I think people fake stuff, stole stuff, did what they had to do.
Still do.
For sure. Still probably do.
Probably now using AI.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't believe it. That's why what I do like to do, like you said, not only to give, testimonials or reference, hey, call up Michael, call up so-and-so, call up so-and-so. But now with my social media, and that's one thing too. I don't post every day because a lot of the jobs I do, just they're repetitious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff's small, but what I like to do now, what I've learned that it's also gotten me more comments, more clicks, likes, whatever, is to make sure that I put myself in those posts. Because it was a couple of years ago, I post. And then one of my friends is like, Joe, this is like, man, this is awesome. You're so busy. But like, he's like,
are you doing this?
Yeah. Are these all your shoots or something like that? Or just what's going on? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, he was just joking. But
yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I need to, if usually that very first picture has to have me in it. So it's recognized and this and this and that. And, again, I try to take, it's all done with my phone. I wish I have a friend down in St. Louis who has a production company down there. And they have a nice little mid-sized production company. And every time they go out, they have at least like a PA or somebody with a nice camera. They're snapping off, beautiful behind the scenes stuff. And of course, their posts are just like, damn, that's some nice looking stuff. And they have the time to do it. There are times when I wrap up at the end of the day, I'm like, oh man, I don't have a lot of good shots to use. Maybe I won't even post about today's shoot. So I don't know. But again, going back to what you were saying, yes, it's relationships. It's that from in the beginning. Hey, Michael, here we're going to be working together again on the 5th for your job here in Chicago. Please let me know. It's always like that. Hey, just that happy. I am happy to be working with you again. When you have more information, please feel free to reach out. And then, of course, the more experienced you are or not, I will gauge that. And then I start asking questions ahead of time, that pre-pro to the job. I want to make sure that I'm walking out there because I've had jobs like that where maybe it was or was not my fault that I didn't ask a certain question. And then something happened like, oh, you don't have a gimbal today? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, or you don't have the big, the whatever, the 5K. It's like,
right.
I'm joking, but like the more you can be prepared for that job, the more questions you can ask and be ready prior to the job, I think is just going to make not only job for you, the crew better, but it's going to make that client experience better. Hopefully as few surprises as possible. And then hopefully it's going to make that day go very, very smooth. And then you're going to get, a good report, a good review. And then like you said too, yes, I am big. I wear my heart on my sleeve and, I take everything to heart, but, I do want to follow up with people, find out if they're happy. I don't always dig, hey, what could we do better? But it's always like, hey, great to see you, great to work with you. Hey, you have the footage, or let me know when we can wipe my copy. How'd the stuff look? How did it sound? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever we can, we do that follow-up and stuff like that, which you would think, I would hope that what we're talking about is something that everyone does. Maybe they don't.
It's not necessarily. There's a lot of one and done, jobs where people don't really follow up afterwards.
It's a pair, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, because we want you to come back, because like you said, it takes, it's like a cliche, but it's like, it takes a long, long time, and it really does, to find a brand new client that hopefully is going to turn into a repeat client. And that you're so thrilled when you finally meet someone. I meet Michael, and then we had a great experience, and now, oh my gosh,
10 years later. Yeah.
Or this guy's coming back. This guy's coming back every, once a quarter or twice a year or 3 times a year, all the time. But you know what? You can lose that client in a second. So that's the one thing too. Exactly. It takes a long time to find and to build and to nurture that client, that relationship. There's that word we talked about, relationship with that client. But then, you want to keep them happy, because, again, in a heartbeat, you can lose them. And I don't know if I can segue into something else with that being losing them. That's one thing I have, unfortunately, am finding now from being in this industry so long, where I have now, well, first of all, as far as crew, I have met a lot. I mean, I don't know, probably thousands of people somewhere in my career, in my history, that were just as gung-ho as me, blah, blah, blah. They want to be the next Spielberg or whatever they're going to do, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But you know what? And then now they are doing anything but working in, film and television, movie production. They're doing anything else but. So this is a tough business. But what I'm seeing lately now, and it started maybe even prior to COVID, but obviously COVID definitely affected my business. And I will say, and I will just freely put out there that, yes, there are clients that I lost during COVID that I will never get back, and not of any fault of my own.
Yep.
But many of those businesses, they closed.
Well, this technology that we're on right now, and the technology like it, that came into prominence during COVID, has killed a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's actually a great segue, because I wanted to talk about the next big deal and what your thoughts are, because really AI, man, it's the best thing and the worst thing. So, how do you use it? How are you positioning yourself? Are you worried about any piece of your business, or, what are your thoughts on AI?
Honestly, maybe I should be. I like using it to craft emails. I mean, the simple stuff, to craft quotes, things like that. Some of my editors and stuff like that use it for certain things. But can it take away? Are we worried? It's already there. Like you said, it's already there. I can scroll on Instagram and see links to these sites where you can go and create like a training video.
Yeah.
You just plug in what you want it to say.
Talking avatars that are absolutely realistic.
Or woman there, beautiful looking, right on camera, generic backdrop, blah, 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 blah. And she's just rattling off your script. And if you have a client that's all they're looking for, like down and dirty, low budget thing, like, hey, I just got to get the word out, whatever. You're probably going to lose. You're probably going to lose to that, unless something that you can offer through your business. I don't know.
I think there's always going to be a need for humans to tell human stories, and there's there's going to be talking head stuff that is just an generic host. But what are we doing? We are working for corporations that want to talk to very specific people who are the expert in their field, and having that person and feeling the weight of their experience in the place that they're at is never going to be could never be substituted by AI or an avatar. For sure. I think there's that, I think on YouTube and social media, we're going to start seeing, like right now, when something is created in Gemini, it has a little mark on the corner. I think you're going to see human-made marks in the future, and the demand for that will increase. But I agree. I think there are some aspects of what we do that are in jeopardy. That some of those pieces kind of come and go. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. But again, I don't want to say we should be worried, but again, like anything, any technology that's out there, I think we need to be aware. And so there you go.
well, hey, it has been a pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you, and I really appreciate your taking the time to do it. And I know that I'll see you the next time I'm in Chicago.
I hope so, Michael. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Old Guy Tech.
That brings us to the end of our conversation with Joe Piscitelli. Joe, thanks so much for coming on and sharing some gems from your 40 years of wisdom from the Chicago trenches. From Home Alone 2 to the realities of staying fit in the field, your perspective is exactly what Old Guy Tech is all about. And a huge thanks to my co-host, Dave McCauley, for joining us from the road in Florida to break down those battle-tested cameras on Artemis 2. Now, before we sign off, I need to issue a correction from our last episode. I told a story about my time shooting for hard copy involving a woman in Knoxville who I said was hit by the same bullet as Pope John Paul II. After checking the archives and the actual reporting, that wasn't the case. She was not hit by the bullet. Rather, she claimed to have found a shard or fragment of the bullet following the 1981 assassination attempt. It was one of those miraculous relic stories that were staples of 90s tabloid TV, but we want to make sure we keep the history as accurate as the tech. Well, we want to hear from you. What is the mummy camera sitting in your closet that you'll never sell? Or better yet, who should we talk to next? We're looking for the veterans, the survivors, and the tech-obsessed who have the stories to back it up. Drop a comment below with your guest ideas or your own old guy war stories. If you enjoyed this trip through the archives, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive. Until next time, stay analog at heart, but digital in the soul, and we'll see you on the next one.